Hello and welcome, fellow digital soldiers, to True Reporting. It is the 10th of May, and on today's podcast, we will be covering part 2 of the gun seize in Los Angeles in the Malibu mansion of Cynthia Beck. But before we get into this, my friends, would you please welcome my new sponsor, Virtual Shield VPN. Hi, friends. Do you like having the peace of mind knowing that your IP address is safeguarded from hackers and people trying to steal your information? I do too. And that's why I use Virtual Shield VPN. For the month of May, Virtual Shield is offering a 30-day free trial as a Memorial Day special. So go ahead and find out what the hype is all about by clicking on the link below. Thank you. Guys, it's good to have you with us. Let's go ahead and hop into it. We have a lot to get through and catch up on. This is True Reporting. Cynthia Beck, Gordon Getty's mistress. 5 fast facts you need to know. This is from heavy.com. So it says, just to catch everyone up, on Wednesday, officials investigating the illegal selling and manufacturing of weapons reported over 1,000 guns and firearms were recovered from Cynthia Beck's home in Bel Air, California. Members of the Los Angeles Police Department and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the ATF, and explosives were working together after obtaining a search warrant for the $7 million home in one of the most affluent neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Beck, former mistress of billionaire Gordon Getty, with whom she shares 3 children with, was not at the property when the official search and seizure took place. And if she has any involvement in either the weapons or the search warrant, it is unknown. Her home is located up the street from Playboy Mansion, west of the home where Michael Jackson died, and east of Beyonce and Jay-Z's $88 million mansion. So, we will continue on. What 5 things that we need to know about her? Beck's affair with Gordon Getty was an open secret. So, this is from Angela Kay. Holmby Hills Gordon Getty, right, purchased the mansion for his mistress Cynthia Beck. Getty is a big Democrat donor, donating to the campaigns of Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, and Gavin Newsom. So this is him right here. Continuing on, the son of billionaire J. Paul Getty, Gordon Getty sold the Getty Oil to Texaco for $10 billion in the mid-'80s and settled down in San Francisco, California after marrying wife Ann. Together they had 4 sons, including Andrew, who tragically died of an overdose in Getty's Hollywood Hills mansion. Very strange, right? While many people in their inner circle knew about Getty's secret life with his mistress, Cynthia Beck, including his wife Ann, the affair became public knowledge in 1999. Okay. Cynthia Beck owns the $9 million rundown Malibu mansion in the midst of the beachside strip of homes in Malibu, known as Paradise Cove. Homes run anywhere from $40 to $60 million and are owned by some of the world's wealthiest people. Steve Jobs' widow, Lauren Powell, LA Rams owner Stan Kroenke, who lives with wife Walmart heiress Ann Walton, and where Leonardo DiCaprio's empty lot was worth for $20 million in 2016. Right smack in the middle of these gorgeous homes sits Cynthia Beck's rundown dark beat mansion, documented by Yes Theory. And I went over that yesterday, just catching you up on everything. Number 3, Beck and Sanz own a few properties together. Public records show that the Bel Air home located at 111 North Beverly Glen Boulevard isn't the only property Beck shares with Gerard Damien Sanz. They are also co-owners of a 4-bedroom home at 1190 West Sunset Boulevard, which they bought for $405,000 in 2007, along with 2 of Beck's daughters, Kendall and Nicolette. Cynthia Beck is a Los Angeles real estate mogul. For someone involved in one of the biggest marriage scandals of the 90s, there are no pictures or much information on Cynthia Beck, other than the fact she owns about 20 properties in Los Angeles, which she bought during her relationship with Getty. Her most expensive home is a 3-acre estate in Beverly Hills, which, like her Malibu home, has been left in deterioration and is now surrounded by a barbed wire fence. It's unknown why Beck has told off any of the neglected properties, which even in their despair shape have a total value of nearly $60 million. Beck is believed to be in her 60s and living somewhere in Europe. In 1999, she was described to SF Gate as a lovely woman by friends in the Getty family. And her daughter's attorney, Stephen Bergen, said she is a nice lady and lives in the LA area. The girls, who were 8, 10, and 14 at the time, they know and love their dad, and that their desire to carry Getty's name outweighs the risk of exposure. The mother is certainly aware of it, but this is not her issue, it's their issue. Cynthia is so private. This is strange, guys. This is where things start to get weird. Cynthia is so private, no one knows where she is. While Beck was not at the Bel Air home during the investigation of her home, which produced a shocking amount of weaponry and firearms, the most information known of her whereabouts is that she's somewhere in Europe. She and Getty were able to keep their secret family under the radar for 14 years. So if anyone knows how to evade the public spotlight, it's Beck. So again, my friends, this is Julian's Rum. He's the one who has been putting out this information that I've been following. Follow Julian's Rum on Twitter, please. So he says, follow me here. Thousands of guns being illegally made and sold seized at the home of Cynthia Beck. Beck is former mistress to Gordon Getty, mother to 3 of his daughters. Billy Getty is Gordon's son. Billy informally adopts Gavin Newsom. The day after the seizure, this happens. So Gavin Newsom's new budget would accolade the $27 million to the California Violence Intervention and Prevention Program, which allocates grants to cities and communities-based groups that focus on eliminating violence. California Governor Gavin Newsom issued an update that the state budget that would call for $27 million to go toward combating gun violence. Well, that's effing fishy, because this originally was suggested in January. Governor Newsom demonstrated today that he knows just how important community-based violence intervention programs are to saving lives in our communities. Supply and demand. Very strange, guys. Continuing on with this. Hey, at Mind Fuhrer and Outlaw Josie Wales, remember that Cynthia Beck property I was DMing you about today? That was flagged. Well, see below, it's the same property. And check out what kind of arsenal, I'll blow this up for you. Check out this arsenal in front of the house. So that's pretty crazy. They got a guy with a fully automatic weapon on there, the SWAT team out here, the blue house here. This is one of her properties. And continuing on, this is the place right here, the same blue house. This is the corner where they were at, 728 North Bunker Hill Avenue, Los Angeles. Now, my friends, we're about to go even deeper. Blow it up for you real quick. Here's a screen cap from me and Outlaw Josie Wells DM. I noticed that the blue house sat in the corner of North Bunker Hill and Alpine. I thought back to that old QAnon drop that read Bunker Forest Blue. It's an old drop that may be unrelated. Still, though, it's surreal. We'll go ahead and click on it. And it says here, this is the address. It says it's a blue house that sits on the corner of North Bunker Hill and Alpine. Bunker Forest Blue, reaching? Probably, but still interesting. And this is the post 1007 Bunker Forest Blue. Bunker in red, Forest Blue. April showers. Q. Random question. Did we ever figure out what Q meant by this? Not that I can recall off the top of my head, so check this out. Right, guys, so it's who knows what they have in this place, right? We're stockpiling weapons. That sounds like a bunker to me, right? We'll continue further. This is the place, right? If you're confused as to who owns the property or what the hell we're even talking about, read the first thread. They own the property together. So Cynthia Beck owns this property too. Very crazy stuff. And this is even crazier, guys. Zoe Tillman, new and very timely. I believe this came out yesterday. Yes, it did. It says here, and very timely. Remember this. The House Oversight Committee is settling a long-running Obama-era subpoena fight with the Department of Justice over documents Operation Fast and Furious. Both sides basically agreed to disagree and end the litigation. What is Fast and Furious, you ask? It's huge. Operation Fast and Furious facts right here. CNN, I know we don't trust CNN, but these really are the facts right here. During the Fast and Furious investigation, nearly 2,000 firearms were illegally purchased for $1.5 million, according to the Department of Justice Inspector General report. Hundreds of guns were later recovered in the United States and Mexico. Think of how close Bel Air, California is to Mexico, and how much corruption is in California. In 2010, two of the weapons linked to Fast and the Furious turned up near the scene of the murder of the U.S. Border Patrol agent Brian Terry in the Arizona desert. Whistleblowing led to investigations by the Senate Judiciary Committee and the House Oversight and the Government Reform Committee. During the House investigation, Attorney General Eric Holder was cited for contempt. Fast and Furious was one of the operations under Project Gunrunner, part of the Department of Justice Border National Southwest Border Counter-Narcotics Strategy. Operation Fast and the Furious was not the ATF's first gun-walking investigation, which allowed illegal purchasing of firearms to walk out of the gun shops. It was preceded by Operation Wide Receiver, which began in 2006. So this is the timeline of all this from 2009, all under the Obama administration, I might add. Phoenix-based ATF agents get a tip from a local gun shop about suspicious purchasing of assault rifles by 4 individuals. The agents began investigating whether the individuals were straw purchasers working for a larger scale illegal gun trafficking organization. So we go to 2010. This is almost a year later, actually. Terry is killed during a shootout in the Arizona desert. 4 of the men involved in the shootout are later convicted of murder. 2 other associates are later charged with conspiracy and firearms offenses in connection with the killing. That last suspect is arrested in 2017. Again, this is about a month or so later. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Arizona announces that 34 suspects have been indicted for firearm trafficking in the U.S. to Mexico. The Department of Justice Inspector General later reports that 20 of the defendants were caught via Fast and Furious. Senator Chuck Grassley, one of our guys, this was 2 days later, of the Senate Judiciary Committee, sends a letter to Kenneth Melson, acting director of the ATF, regarding the agency's firearm trafficking investigation and allegations that the ATF allowed hundreds of assault weapons to be smuggled to Mexico. He notes that 2 of the guns may have been used by Terry's killers. March 2011, Melson announces the formation of a panel to review the Bureau's current firearms and trafficking strategies employed by field division managers and special agents. The House Oversight, in April, the House Oversight Committee issues a subpoena for the ATF documents. May 3rd, Holder testifies before the House Judiciary Committee. He says that he first heard of Fast and Furious only over the weeks that have passed. June 2011, whistleblowers testify on Capitol Hill. July, sources tell CNN that the estimated 1,400 weapons were lost by the ATF. That's bullcrap. July 26, the House Oversight Committee holds a second hearing. August 30th, the DOJ removes Melson as acting director of the ATF, and he is resigned to the Office of Legal Policy. Basically, he stepped down because he was guilty, right? B. Todd Jones takes Melson's place as director of ATF. October 2012, the House Oversight Committee issues a subpoena for communications from Eric Holder and other DOJ officials related to the federal gun-running operation. Holder testifies before the Senate Judiciary Committee. This operation was flawed in its concept and flawed in its execution, he says. He's trying to get out of it. Terry's family files a $25 million wrongful death lawsuit in the federal court. This is the Border Patrol agent that was killed. The lawsuit is later dismissed. No money. Holder testifies before the House Oversight Committee. He says that the DOJ officials will be held accountable for Fast and Furious. Holder rejects calls for the resignation from Republicans during a House Oversight Committee hearing. And guys, so basically this just continues on. Wherein it ends is that all this took place under the Obama administration. And we see here that yesterday, suspect in Holmby Hills weapons case released on $50,000 bail. So we had someone arrested from this yesterday. This happened in the morning of yesterday. As federal authorities and the LAPD continues to catalog a massive stockpile of weapons confiscated from a Holmby Hills home, a firearms expert says it is clear that at least some of the firearms were illegal. Okay, so over 1,000 firearms, and some of them are illegal. We need like a number here. The weapons seen in aerial footage and police photos appeared to include at least 8 AR-15 style rifles, a .22 handgun with a silencer, an Uzi with a silencer, 2 Thompson submachine guns, sawed-off shotguns, and guns with barrels made too short to comply with California law. That's according to a weapons expert who reviewed photos and video of the weapons confiscated from the home Wednesday. The expert observed at least 17 weapons that appeared to be illegal. Oh, okay, there we get a number. The ATF will probably be initiating traces on those, and they can find out if they're stolen, said Greg Block with the site firearmstraining.com. One weapon was imprinted with Amiria de Sans, the Spanish word for armory, and the last name of the suspect. Jared Damian Sans, 57, was arrested after the LAPD and ATF served a search warrant at the home on Beverly Glen following an anonymous tip about someone selling or manufacturing weapons out of the home. Sans was booked on at least one weapon charge and may face additional charges later as authorities continue to investigate the stockpile. Los Angeles police and federal agents seized more than 1,000 firearms and thousands of rounds of ammunition after executing a search warrant at the home. Around the same time as the search warrant was executed at the Holmby Hills property, officers were also carrying out a search of the property in Chinatown that is believed to be connected. That was where we saw the armored vehicles with SWAT, that blue home that I went over earlier. That was in Chinatown. Neighbors say the SWAT team waited outside the property for more than an hour to determine if anyone was inside before forcibly entering the home. It appears that the property was not occupied. There was no word on what was seized from the Chinatown location. Sans showed up on the property records for the Holmby Hills home alongside Cynthia Beck, a former mistress of Gordon Getty, one of the world's richest men. It is unclear how Sans and Beck were connected. Neighbors say that they believe Sans has lived at the property for nearly 20 years. Sans was released on a $50,000 bail Thursday morning. The weapons were found stacked all around the home, described as a large house with multiple rooms that were cluttered with guns and ammunition. They were described as a wide range of makes and models, assault weapons, rifles, shotguns, and handguns of different ages. Many were modern and some went back 50 years or more. A few were even collectibles that dated back to the Civil War. I had never seen so many weapons in my career of 31 years, said LAPD Lieutenant Chris Ramirez. That's such a big arsenal in a resident like this. In this type of neighborhood, it is astounding. Ramirez noted it's not illegal for someone to own a large collection of firearms, but he said it is illegal to sell weapons from one's home without going through the extensively regulated state and federal process. Check this picture out, guys. Look at all this ammunition. Sans was the only person home and the only person taken into custody. Holmby Hills is a small, wealthy neighborhood in the hills northeast of UCLA that is perhaps best known as the home of the Playboy Mansion. Neighbors were appalled to hear about the discovery and the arrest. I would never ever thought that I would be wanting to pack so much in this, I would never ever think anybody would be wanting to pack so much in this neighborhood. It scares the wits out of you, said Rabbi Chom Mintz. What does my next door neighbor have? What does your next door neighbor have? Absolutely, my friend. So, what does this tell us? This tells us that who were they trying to arm with all these weapons? Were they trying to arm Antifa, MS-13? Were they trying to traffic it down to Mexico and make money off of it? Either way, it was seized, which is huge. And also, I believe Trump was tweeting about fireworks happening, and we can check that out right now. All right, guys, so this is the tweet from Donald Trump. It says, I am pleased to inform you that the big fireworks, after many years of not having any, are coming back to beautiful Mount Rushmore in South Dakota. Great work. We all know there's a lot of code within Donald Trump's tweets. And the big fireworks, remember, this is the same day that gun seize took place. So is he talking about the guns, the big fireworks? A lot of code, could be so. And from Post 1071, Eric Holder in California. Says April showers, war, it's happening. Talk to you soon, Anon. We will see. It's happening here. The tone, war, April showers. Q. Eric Holder, California. Now remember, all this took place, the Fast and the Furious took place with Eric Holder under the Obama administration. And we can come here, which is even crazier, what I went over earlier. Why is this so with the whole Fast and Furious situation, the House Oversight Committee is settling a long-running Obama subpoena fight with the DOJ, Operation Fast and Furious. Both sides are basically agreeing to disagree and end the litigation. So this was the day after the seize, and they just drop it. It's over, you know? After all that time, it's over with. So why does it matter? By settling now, both sides avoid a D.C. Circuit ruling that would be binding in future subpoena fights between Congress and the executive branch. Like say, the one the House Judiciary Committee was dealing with today. That's crazy. Both Congress and executive branch disagree with parts of the judge's ruling about executive privileges in Congress, ability to go to court to enforce subpoenas. In the settlement, both sides agree these rulings aren't controlling in future cases. Oh, you mean the case that just took place with this seize and we have an arrest? Right, it's just out the window. So, my friends, why? Again, what were those guns going to be used for? All of this is really coming together really quickly, and it's very interesting. So there'll probably be a part 3 to this as I stay on top of it for you. If you found this informative and you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter @TrueReporting, and don't forget to leave a like. You can also donate to this channel by going to my PayPal and Patreon to keep it afloat, and those links are in the description box below. Be kind and loving to one another, and I will talk to you very soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.